So Marconi, thanks for having us, man. This place is called Halo, right?
Halo, yes.
Where'd you get that name from?
Well, the bar downstairs is called the Saint Hollywood.
Okay.
Everyone calls it the Saint.
Oh, nice.
Right? What's above a saint? So
I would, if that was like a pub trivia night, I would have never put that together.
it took a while. I was trying to find a name with my two business partners, and we were just talking, whatever. And I'm like, the Saint. Well, Halo. Cool. Nice. There we go.
Right on
what's
top.
above? What would you want? And then so it just turned into that.
Well, I love this. Personally for me, I love being in the city, and I love you guys are on. We'll hopefully get a B-roll or a shot of outside, but you guys are on the city corner of what is now a hugely popular street in downtown Hamilton. What's it like being so much in the core for recording?
Awesome.
Yes.
It's super lucky to have found the place to begin with. Lou was really kind to us and of made sure that it worked out.
Yeah.
And so did Glenn and Jody. They're amazing as well.
Okay.
And having the place downtown here is awesome because you take a break and you have whatever you want.
Right. Yeah.
Right? You look out the window, you have scenery.
Yeah.
So we're not isolated, and you don't have to feel weird driving to a weird spot to get to the studio.
Yeah.
You've got the studio. Everybody knows where downtown is, and it's cool to go downtown now.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I've been to some country studios, and they have their advantages, and
for sure.
And some people get inspired by being out at the cottage. For me, I love the urban areas. I love the city. I mean, I can imagine in the winter, the snow falling at night, or in the summer, you got the windows open and people hollering and
It's great.
It's cool.
The cool thing is the buzz it kind of gives into the street. Because when the bands are playing, you see people kind of, what's going on?
Yeah,
it's got that kind of, the Beatles on the roof idea. Everybody's stopping and listening.
Yeah.
We don't have the Beatles playing here, but, you get the idea.
So there's a club downstairs, and then you're at a corner where there's buses, there's this train station over there. How much noise do you have to deal with?
Not much.
Really?
You get
as a car.
Yeah, as a car horn goes off. It doesn't really get into the recording.
That's cool.
We're lucky. The room sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe an ambulance.
Right.
That's going to be a problem.
Right.
That happens.
Do you leave it? Do you leave it in the mix?
If it's not a problem.
Right.
If I'm doing an acoustic record, maybe not.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a rock record, it's in the background. Unless I solo everything to hear it, whatever, right?
Yeah,
it's not going to do anything.
That's the thing too. I remember working on records, and you're piling on tracks, and there was one, acoustic take or something where we forgot to turn off the air conditioner.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, oh shoot, should we redo it? But then you listen back, and it's like, you're not going to hear it over the drums,
exactly,
over the bass. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, that's cool. Well, it's such an advantage, I think, being downtown. It's really close, and the type of music that you do, and just the vibe of this place, I think you couldn't have this anywhere else without the skyline that you see at the
For sure.
windows.
It's great. And it's inspiring to have the skyline.
Yeah.
I've had many different incarnations of studios.
Yeah.
Some with windows that see nothing, and some without windows, and having something to just change your perspective for a minute helps.
Right.
Tons. Because you can get lost in your gear, or you can get lost in your instrument.
Oh yeah.
And not have that change for a second.
Yeah.
A little bit of something to go, oh yeah, and then and then you're back in there.
Yeah, totally.
Refresh, like a recharge.
Yeah. Very briefly, how did you get into recording? How did it all begin for you?
Well, you want the true story?
Yeah.
I lied my way into places.
Okay.
I had to, because I had no experience.
Yeah.
So I just pretended.
Nice.
I went in and I was just ballsy enough to say, hey, I can do all this stuff, and and I need this and that, and somebody took a chance on me a long time back.
Yeah.
And I mean, it helped. I took a co-op when I was in high school.
Okay.
And did a co-op at a guy named Wolfgang Bonham's studio. He had converted his garage into a wicked analog synthy studio.
Okay.
And so I spent a lot of time in there when I was in high school for a few months, and then I took a break. Then I went to the UK, and that's when I got the chance to kind of make up my resume so that I could get some experience.
Yeah.
Because now you can go online, you can look on YouTube, figure things out enough to do something at home. back then you couldn't.
Totally.
So I had to get into a studio. And that's what I did. I just went in and I can do this. I know that, one of those, and you just kind of do your thing and
Fake it till you make it.
Hope somebody's gonna, and he took a chance on me. And I did some work there for a while. And
was the high school co-op, was that in Hamilton?
The high school co-op was in Burlington.
In Burlington, okay, cool.
And
then you went to the UK?
My first job was in the UK doing engineering work.
Nice.
I got some experience that way. I just, I kept quiet.
Right.
And I listened and I watched, so if they, why we did that? Yep. And just, and then figure it out, and
that's
then,
cool.
And then I came back with a lot of experience. And then I got a job at a smaller place called Mastermind Studio.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Long time ago. And that place was just pumping out high school bands.
Oh, yeah.
All day long. Just all day. And it was really good for me to learn how to use Pro Tools extremely efficiently and quickly.
Right.
And then moving on from there, I started working with Dan Aiken.
Right.
And we did Catherine North up pretty well.
That's a beautiful place.
We did very good there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building.
Oh, yeah.
And we spent a lot of time making the place really cool.
Yeah.
And then he passed away.
Right.
Sad.
Yeah.
Actually, 7 years ago yesterday.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, anniversary. So he passed away. The place changed quite a bit once he was gone. It was time to part ways.
Yeah.
I opened up a place in Oakville.
Okay.
The Parlor, it was called. I was there for about a year. It was an old funeral home.
That's a funeral home.
Funeral home, yeah.
Oh, man.
Interesting. Yeah.
What challenges does a funeral... Was it a current funeral home? Or
No, it had just... My friend owns funeral homes.
Oh, man.
He had a building
that
he wasn't using anymore.
I couldn't. Why didn't you call that place Halo?
Right. Yeah. Sure. Well, we called it the Parlor, like the funeral parlor. But it was interesting. It sounded great. It was like a Grant Avenue.
Okay.
Same concept.
Oh, nice.
Same type of building as well. So same idea, same everything.
Yeah.
And then I got the opportunity to work with Steve Biggis at Porcelain Records.
Right. Okay.
And I jumped on that. Beautiful building, great gear.
Sure.
That turned into whatever it turned into. I left.
Yeah.
And talked to Lou one day, and here we are.
Wow. Incredible.
So I've been fortunate to work on some good stuff along the way.
I wanted to ask you, when you're talking about, it seems like kind of a fantasy now, but you're talking about going to the UK and just going into a studio and sitting there and watching. Do you think that's still an option today for young kids? What if a high schooler came up to you and asked you to sit here and watch you do your work?
Well, if they asked me nicely to do that without doing what I did, I would gladly accept it. And I do have a co-op student that comes in, and I have some apprentices that are learning. But right now, you can't do that without somebody saying, okay, well, show me something online.
Right.
If somebody said that to me when I did it, I'd be like, but there wasn't that. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I was lucky.
Right.
I was very lucky. It was the product of the time. Now, if somebody tried to pull that on me, I'd say, well, show me something. And then, oh, shit.
That's true. That's true.
But, I mean, I'd respect the
well,
effort.
I mean, I guess probably thinking back to some of the studios we visited, I'm sure everybody would be game to have somebody come along, bring someone under their wing. But
it's great.
It just seems like back in the day, back in the 70s and the 80s, when there were big commercial studios, that there would always be these interns or these runners and they would end up becoming big name producers.
For sure. And that's the cool thing about that, that day. I think I may have been at the end of the possibility of that.
Right.
Which is, I guess, lucky for me at the same time, Again, I will take on, I do have apprentices because I want somebody else to learn, because I know, the old ways of doing things and the new ways of doing things, because I've been throughout many different producers. I've worked with a lot of great people. Yeah. And I've learned along the way many, many different things. And the cool thing about that is I can pass that on to somebody. Mm-hmm. So I encourage that, rather than somebody going to school for it and learning the theory, but not, the real world stuff. That's more important, I think, is the experience. Totally. So if somebody comes in wanting experience, absolutely, they deserve it if they're asking for it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's important to pass on some of that the knowledge and the wisdom of the analog world and the kind of the old way of doing things. Otherwise, in 20 years from now, we're going to have everything is going to be all the wisdom is going to be from YouTube.
Sure, and you know, and there's so much misinformation out there on YouTube as well.
It's true.
You know, everything's becoming computerized, and I think that's slowing everything down from a progression standpoint. Things aren't as good as they could be because they're being made to be sterile and perfect.
Right. Yeah.
Right, and that's not a good thing, I don't think.
No,
I always equate it to like, you know, if you eat candy, you like it, but then you eat candy every day, and you start not liking potatoes. Right.
Right.
But that's an essential piece, you know, a potato or a steak or a broccoli, and people need to understand flavors that are the basics instead of having their taste buds annihilated by fake stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so same thing with your ears.
I think there'll come a time like within the next year or two or a little bit more where a lot of this stuff, it just starts becoming transparent and people start to crave the real thing.
Exactly. That's the thing. Your taste buds will always want a clean palate and a new start. And same with your ears.
What's challenging is that when you are, and I did this too, and I still do this, but when you're 16, 17, you're starting in music, you get so excited by the fact that you just made a track. You're like, this sounds just as good as the radio or a CD that I have. But I think the problem is that those people's ears aren't as mature as someone who's been doing it for 10 or 20 or 30 years.
For sure. And that's the other thing. People are trying to emulate something that's on the radio.
Yeah.
And if everything that's on the radio is candy, well, then people are going to start making candy thinking it's reality. You know, like, it'll slowly shift. It's already started. I've noticed over the years, maybe 5 years ago, it was much harder to get a band to come into a studio to appreciate the engineer's experience and talent. Right? Because they're like, well, all this home stuff, I could do it at home.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, try, fine, maybe you can.
Yeah.
But now people are starting to go, okay, there's value in
totally.
using a real room, using real gear, using a real engineer.
That's some of the stuff. One of the things that you don't think about from the home studio perspective is that it's the room, it's the space that you lack in a home studio.
For sure.
I mean, obviously there's a lot more that you lack in a home studio, and there's huge advantages to a home studio at the same time. But it's just a lot of us, we lose that vibe. I mean, here we are in a room that's like exposed ceilings, exposed brick. You're looking out over the city. I mean, it's easy to write a tune in a place like this, as opposed to sitting on a floral bedspread.
Right.
You know what I mean? In your parents' bedroom or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you, like, you were saying before we were filming about a lot of what you do is live off the floor. And we have a live room, which we'll check out shortly.
So the band plays live as a band.
Okay.
I record it as an album. Okay, so I do my job isolating so that the recording sounds like a record, not a live jam. Right. So I do it so I can isolate everything and I can mute the guitars and the guitars are gone.
Okay, so the amps are in a different room.
The amps are almost in the same room. They're just in the doorways so that you can still hear them. If you're a player, you're by your amp and you can hear your drum kit.
Right.
You don't have headphones because...
Is it good to have a little bit of bleed too? Like,
sure, absolutely. So the room mic's going to get a little bit of stuff.
Yeah.
But the drum mics are going to get nothing.
Really?
Right. And so the band pulls it off live as a band. And then as long as they do their job very well, it's easy for me to do mine because then I just have to put it together correctly.
Right. And are they generally, sorry I'm interrupting you. Are they generally recording to a click?
Possibly.
Okay.
Depends.
Right, because you said sometimes they wouldn't have headphones.
I never give, in general, it's my general rule. Obviously there's exceptions, but the drummer only will get headphones if he wants a click.
Okay. I see.
Otherwise, I try not to.
Yeah.
I find it detracts from the magic. You know, you're in a little world, this weird space. You know, and we're not in that kind of studio where there's no windows and you're in a space already. So whatever, this is a cooler space than the space you're in. The space that we have here is pretty cool. So let's just have all our senses enjoy it.
Yeah, totally. On that note, sorry, I'm just like, my mind's going here.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of this technique? I think it's Lanois who does it. Some people will overdub the lead vocals in front of the the mixing monitors without headphones. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Does it work okay?
Awesome. Yeah.
So the disadvantage,
and
obviously,
that's actually from that camp of, like, Dan's a good friend.
Okay.
Really nice dude, awesome guy. And I learned a handful from, his kind of methods and stuff like that through Steve and stuff like that over the years. And we do that a lot, where music playing loud, kind of like a band playing at the singer. And then if you mic it correctly, you're not going to get a ton of this.
Okay.
You're going to get the vocal.
Yeah.
And that's the idea, is give the vocalist the energy he needs to give you what he wants.
It's
or
almost,
what he should give you.
It's almost like whatever does bleed into the mic.
It's the music anyways.
It's the music, and it's offset by the performance and the passion that you get.
For sure.
Yeah. That's the thing with headphones. I mean, maybe if you're doing a guitar solo, it's fine, or drums are so loud anyway, but for vocals, that's where it really impedes, I think.
It messes you up.
Yeah.
It puts you in this box now.
Yeah.
Now pressure.
Yeah.
Literal pressure, like again, don't get me wrong, I will use headphones if we have to.
Yeah.
Maybe people feel better, being in there, and then they can open up.
Yeah.
Fine. But we'll always try different things to make sure we get the right thing.
And so you do that. But what type of vocal mic would you use then if you're doing it here? Condenser and everything?
Whatever we need for the vocalists type,
Wow.
so whatever we need. And like, I've used large diaphragm condensers.
And would you put them like right about here, like a couple feet back?
I don't put them directly in front of the speakers.
Oh, okay.
A little bit offset.
Okay.
Just so I can kind of minimize
right. Okay,
what's
cool.
up. But then again, like sometimes, so if you see where the speakers are here, there's a window directly behind us, an open window, not a glass window.
Yeah.
I put the vocalist in there most of the time.
Okay.
And just crank it.
No way.
And then they're in there. And the cool thing about that is there's a little bit of time until the audio gets to them.
Okay.
A little more time than normal.
Yeah.
So that puts them a little bit slower than the music. And it fits them in the pocket a little better if they're a little too excited.
Yeah. I'm going to steal that technique.
Yeah,
That's
ahead.
cool.
But it
awesome.
works.
Yeah.
It works.
That's really cool. I'd love to hear that. Okay, so when you're recording, you're going into the board.
Yes.
And so what kind of board is this? I've never seen anything like it.
It's an Auditronics 310.
Okay.
This is one of two.
No way.
Yeah.
Where do they build them?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow.
So it's a Class A. It's like your equivalent of your Neve or your that type of gritty, awesome Class A proper console.
Beautiful. What era did it?
85.
85.
It's a beauty. I saved its life.
Oh yeah.
So it was sent to an electronics recycler.
Okay. Jeez.
In 2007.
Okay.
And the guy held onto it for 7 or whatever years, and then put it on eBay.
Yeah.
Unknown condition, unknown this, unknown that, spelled the brand name wrong. and I'm just about to open the place, and I'm like, I need a console, and I'm searching and searching, and then I saw this thing, and I'm like, that I know what this is.
Really?
Because Auditronics made Spectrasonics consoles.
Okay.
And then they made this in the interim, and then went into broadcast boards, full-on radio boards.
Okay.
Those little guys, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I gotta, so I called the guy on the eBay auction. I said, look, I'll just drive down and buy it. What do you want for it? Take it off eBay. He's like, okay, we decided on a price.
Yeah.
No power supply, no nothing.
Yeah.
So I'd have to figure it all out. Brought it back. It spent about 2 months researching where I could find out parts, where I could find whatever I need to find out.
Sure.
And in the meantime, we cleaned it and took care of it.
Yeah.
And I found on some forum, like 10 pages into Google, some guy had mentioned using an Auditronics board at KDKA, which is where this came from.
Oh, okay.
And so I emailed him, and a week later he emailed me back, hey, yeah, I used that board. That was a great board. And it told me all the things about it, everything.
No way.
Whatever. And then he goes, try calling these people.
Yeah.
They may have parts still, because they bought the company that made these.
Okay.
Because this company's out of business or whatever, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Called them, hey, do you know anything about this board? And the guy had been there since. He goes, yeah, that board, a great board.
Yeah.
There was 2 of them. He goes, there was one for troubleshooting and this one.
No way.
And the reason there was two is so KDKA could call and say, hey, we got a problem on channel 15 when we do this. And then somebody at the other end of the phone, they would do that.
Oh my gosh.
And go, oh yeah, now you need to change whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
So what happened to that board?
It got parted out to keep this alive.
Right.
And there were other 3 series, not the same frame type of console. So the parts that were there gone.
Yeah.
But the power supply existed still.
No way.
There was one. There were 2 power supplies.
Yeah.
And one of them was sent to be destroyed, the one that was for this one.
Yeah.
The company that had this destroyed the power supply, sent this to be recycled.
Okay.
And I found the power supply for the sister board, had it refurbished, and then it was sent over to me. And in the meantime of it being refurbished, the guy that was refurbishing it and had all the knowledge wasn't emailing me back at one point. So I called them on the Monday. Nobody answered. I'm like, I paid for this thing and they've disappeared.
Yeah.
I'm like, panic mode. Tuesday, I get through to somebody. Hey, I'm looking for Dwayne.
Yeah.
And she goes, Dwayne didn't show up for work on Monday. So we went to his house to look for him and we found him dead in his bed. He passed away in his sleep so I'm like, oh my God, like just the weirdest story.
No kidding.
Anyway, his apprentice finished refurbing it, set the power supply up, got the manual, got all the pieces.
What was the whole process? How long did that take? From finding it on eBay to tracking
4 months of getting ready. And the cool thing about it was when we plugged it in the first time, the clock was correct, the date was correct, minus 2 hours because of the daylight savings, I guess, or whatever. Everything turned on, everything worked.
So it's got some sort of internal battery for the clock?
The battery has since shorted out, but anyway.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's got a nice NASA look to it.
Yeah, it's a beauty board.
So how many channels? 24?
Well, it has 24 strips.
Okay.
But it has 12 mic pre's, and then 12 mono line A, 12 mono line B, and then 12 A stereo channels and 12 B stereo channels. I think it works out to like 80 or 90 inputs.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a great little piece.
And then you're going into the Orion here, and how many
The Orion's a 32 I/O.
Oh, okay.
So Orion does 32 I/O, really high grade converters in there. That thing's awesome.
Yeah.
And then a custom made patch bay. I did it all myself, hand wired, and the whole place is hand wired. All of this.
Incredible.
And
I think they had that at Boxcar.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's very possible.
Yeah, they're raving about
it's a great converter.
System it has with the computer and everything.
Yeah, it's a great.
So
converter.
there's 12 pre's on here.
12 mic pre's. So we use 12 of the pre's here.
Okay.
I have some stereo portable pre's that I've built.
Oh, okay.
Custom made ones.
Okay.
And then I have this custom designed Yamaha board. It's like that. The modded Yamaha that people talk. It's like that.
That's cool.
So I've got that, and it actually had 24 channels. I cut it in half. I cut it down to the 16.
So there's EQ on here?
Yeah, it does a full EQ
sends.
per channel. There's 4 sends. There's also 4 subgroups and 4 group assigned VCA faders.
Oh, okay.
Per channel, then a Q mode, solo mode, all of that.
What's the filter buttons? What are they?
The high cut and low cut.
Oh, okay.
So like high pass filter, low pass filter.
Do you know where it like?
Approximately 80, I can't remember off the top of my head, and something like 12, I think, on the top.
Getting shocked severely here by my mic, sorry.
Oh, wow.
That's a beautiful board. It's in great shape, too.
Yeah, and
really cool.
And it's Y2K ready, apparently. It passed through It didn't take over the world.
That's why the clock was 2 hours behind.
Right. So, it's cool. And it has a really great stereo compressor that I've put onto the master bus.
Okay, you put on afterwards?
Yeah, so when I found out the power supply, and so I'm like, hey, do you have any leftover parts that'll work on this board?
Yeah.
Tell me what you have. And he goes, oh, we have 2 of these compressors. They're for a 900, but they plug in to a 300.
Okay.
Oh, cool. So I got one. I've ordered the other one, and it's on its way.
Is it here?
Yeah, and it is like, the SSL bus compressor? it's like that and an LA2A hybrid tone. Like you can go crazy like the SSL and just smash things, or you can make it nice like an LA2A.
Really
and it's
soft,
a stereo compressor.
So this is a stereo compressor?
Yeah, so I've ordered the other one because there's only 2 left, and I'm getting the last one. And I'm going to throw it on a subgroup so that I have a drum smasher as well as my master mix
that's really cool.
compressor.
Let's go back over here to, I want to check out the, actually first the monitors. Sorry guys, these guys are going to hate me.
It's all this back and forth, changing the cameras. And
these tannoys here, I've seen these a few times, not in real life though.
Yeah.
So what made you go with these, and where'd you get them?
They're tannoy, they're called Little Reds. They're basically tannoy golds.
They're beautiful.
They're super accurate, that's why.
Yeah.
I was recommended them by a friend, a guy named Steve.
Okay.
And they're dual concentric. So what that means is the tweeter is deep within the woofer.
Oh.
Okay, so like
interesting.
If you look at the NS10s, you've got your woofer and your tweeter separate.
No way.
These have the tweeter within the woofer, and what it does is they're phase correct, so the tweeter is deeper than the woofer, and the speed of the high end is going to be faster than the low end.
Right.
So they've put it deeper so that it all comes at the same time when it gets to you.
No way.
Yeah. Really neat design. They're accurate. They're super.
That's incredible.
Super nice.
And you have an amp to run them? Is that they need an amp?
Yeah, we have both speakers are actually running off the same amp, and I have a switcher right here. So I put onto the console.
Oh, nice.
You can speakers, and then
I love big industrial stuff like this.
Yeah,
a whole strip for one switch.
Yeah, I just I drilled a hole, but as you can see,
awesome.
Actually, I drilled the hole too big.
Oh yeah.
And then I had to turn it around and redo, just because luckily I had a plug that fit.
That's funny.
But
I think that's great. Well, I mean, you were playing them right when we came in.
We were using the NS10s for a while, actually. Those are much higher fidelity than NS10s, wider range.
Yeah. So when you're sitting back here mixing, what do you primarily use? The NS10s?
The NS10s.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I use the NS10s a lot to kind of sit it all together.
Yeah.
Place everything.
Yeah.
And then I use these ones to go, okay, now check placement. Let's do all the fine adjustments on the big guys. Because
these are prettier?
They're super accurate. Yeah. And they are prettier because they're wider range.
Right.
They have the higher nice and the lower nice.
Right.
Whereas the NS10s just have all that, all the junk, in the middle.
In the middle.
So like I said, I use the NS10s. I mix very quiet.
That's
very,
great.
very, very low. Because you get a better idea of where things sit when it's low, instead of having it like smashing in your face.
Totally.
Then you lose perspective.
Yeah.
It's like staring into a bright light or looking at a TV screen. It's easier on your eyes to look at something in a lower setting than a very bright light.
Yeah. That's really cool. So talk to me about the rack gear here. What do you like? I actually don't recognize like most of this stuff. So
cool. Yeah. So we'll start up here. This is a headphone distribution unit.
Okay.
Just your basic.
Yeah. I actually have the same one. I think I have something very similar.
This is running. We have a back room, and this is running the headphones for back there.
Oh, okay.
And then we have another one out on the floor that runs the floor if we need it.
Right.
This is my fave, the Automax 3. It's a CBS compressor limiter.
No way.
It's a set and forget. It's from the 60s. It was the thing back when it came out.
CBS Laboratories.
Yeah, beautiful machine. Very hard to find them in good condition.
I bet.
This one's in functional good condition. Looks a little bit ratty because whatever. But
I thought it was just a meter.
Oh no, this is it's a compressor. Like there's no real settings on it, but you go in with a screwdriver and you set it how you need it, and that's it.
So what type of compressor is it?
It's like an LA2A.
Yeah, is it optical?
That idea?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's there's a weird piece in there. It's not a tube.
Okay.
And it's not a transistor. It's like a new Vistor.
Okay.
It's a very strange piece that does the work in there.
Oh man. And was it intended for broadcast?
Yeah, so it's a leveler type of situation, but it does a very good job of keeping everything transparent. The vocal that you heard earlier that I played for you, that was running through there.
Oh,
so you couldn't tell there's a compressor on there, but the level is consistent.
Yeah, totally. So is that you use that for vocals?
I use it for vocals or sometimes bass.
Yeah.
Or a drum smashing thing if I really want to go silly, but
yeah,
it's not as good for that.
That's really cool. I love not having any options too.
Yeah, it's great.
It's too many options. You're like,
plug in.
Yeah,
is it working?
It.
Yes, no, and then
That's great.
The next guy down. It's a DBX 162.
Okay.
So it's a stereo compressor.
Okay.
It's really cool. Everybody's looking for these 160 VUs.
Yeah.
This is the stereo version, basically.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Okay, it's a very rare classic piece, and you can smash things through it, and it does such a good job of pumping and breathing, and it just gives this character, and it makes things come out of the speakers so nice.
Oh, that's cool. What do you use that for with that?
A lot of drums.
A lot of drums?
Yeah,
like
a lot of drums. Overheads, rooms, drum mix.
Oh,
whatever. And then I've got these 4 channels of DBX 166.
Okay.
They're the original ones that are not the the ones you find in a sound guy's rack.
Right, yeah.
They're the original ones. They sound really cool.
It's so hard for me to keep track of the DBX stuff because it's like
there is like actually like 10 versions of these. It's crazy.
And it's like, couldn't they come up with a different model number? It's like everything's a play off the 160.
Exactly.
So frustrating.
Yeah, and luckily I got paid for doing a editing or a mixing job in those one day.
Yeah, so tell me about what's going down here because it's all unique stuff for most part.
Yeah, so this is my effects, basically my effects system. I've got a delay unit up here.
Okay.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
90s piece, and it sounds unreal.
Really?
Just makes stuff come out of the speakers.
That's awesome.
I got it long time ago.
I think that we were talking about this after, but I think because of that 80s sound that's kind of becoming popular again and the 90s sound, I think a lot of these things that were on like DJ racks and PA racks are starting to become a little bit more popular.
For sure, yeah. And if you find the right ones, you get this magic.
Yeah.
Some really cool stuff. The next guy down here is a Sony R7. Hard to get, picked it up in the States, just classy. Just unreal reverbs. This has no real age-defining sound.
Right.
It's just, you can go 90s, 70s, 80s, future, whatever
cool.
future means. But
do you ever use these in tracking?
During recording?
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
Sometimes, like if I'm doing something with like the vocalist headphones and you want a little life in there, I'll toss a little bit into the mix.
Sure.
But sometimes I use plugins for that.
Right.
Because it's just easier to strike if I need to.
Totally.
This is more mixing. This is my mixing setup.
Okay, cool.
To add some flair and some cool stuff. This Ibanez right here is the equivalent of a really high-end Sony Verb from, it was made in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And the idea is Ibanez bought a line of Sony reverb units, with the Sony processor, Sony everything, and then branded them as Ibanez, and super flopped.
And sunk the ship.
Like who wants to buy an Ibanez professional piece of equipment? But the cool thing is, somebody I knew had one and told me about it and sold it to me for $100.
Wow.
And I use it always.
No way. And it's a reverb?
Yeah, it's a reverb unit. It does some delay, some tap type stuff, whatever, but it's mostly a reverb.
That's cool.
Your hall, your plate, your gate,
cool,
cool stuff. Great unit. It sounds awesome. Like all this stuff. The good thing about these pieces, even the Eventides down here, is they were made when there were limitations on the equipment.
Yeah.
So they had to find a way to pack in a lot of powerful stuff in not a lot of processing,
right.
And not a lot of quality conversion.
Right.
So they're limited with the converters, and the reason these things sound so much better than like a modern equivalent is because the modern equivalents have more range in the bit rate and all of that stuff.
Right.
And then it kind of gets in the way of your mix.
Interesting.
Or these things fit better into a mix because they're less quality, I think. I don't know exactly the theory behind it, but they fit better into a mix because they're grainier and they don't, they're not as transparent.
It's like too much information.
Exactly.
Interesting. That's really cool.
And then you've got these two Eventides here. One of them is the broadcast
Those are
model.
great.
One of them is the full high-end, every single feature you can imagine. And so actually the funny thing is each one of these have what the other one doesn't.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really neat. They're good together.
Do you have a manual for those?
Yeah, and it's super complex.
No kidding.
But it's really easy to use if you know what you're doing. You get in there. If you're not scared of pressing buttons and doing stuff, you can go in there and set it up however you like.
And you can save stuff?
Oh yeah, save presets.
Nice.
Like right now, we've got a preset up for the Pineapple Girls record that we're doing.
Oh, cool.
So
what will you use that for then?
So the vocal chain that I have going for this, it's running through a gated verb plus a layered pitch shift.
Oh, wow.
So the pitch shift is running into the gated verb.
My legs are dying.
Yeah, no problem. The pitch shift is running into the gated verb, which makes a cool thing.
Yeah.
And then it's a stereo pitch shift. And then all of that is running back into a kind of a soft verb of some sort.
Okay.
So just to give some more space.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's really cool.
It works great with his voice because he's got a really interesting voice. It's just so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I love that, when you have this stuff from all different eras, like there's no rules anymore in mixing.
Yeah.
When we're taking stuff from the 70s and the 80s and the 60s and the 90s and then creating new things. I love that.
For sure.
I love that. Well, I'm jealous of some of these pieces.
Oh, thanks,
I got
man.
to keep an eye out for some of them.
Yeah,
I'm jealous of this guy.
Yeah, I was
So
I was
cool.
lucky to pick this stuff up when I could afford them.
Yeah.
Because now it's getting to the point where it's like ridiculous because
I
people
know.
are figuring them out and buying them, and nobody wants to sell them.
I know. And idiots like me in my bedroom are buying them.
Yeah, it's good, man. Gets people to love them and appreciate them.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's check out your live room real quick.
Sure.
This is we talk about vibe, we talk about being in the urban setting. Like you've got the St. Hollywood sign right there.
Yeah, it's great.
This is great.
Yeah,
I think it's so cool.
It's super lucky that this just happened.
It's beautiful. And it's in such an up and coming or already came part of town.
Sure, yeah.
With the train station there and
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
so
inspiring to look out. You get a nice view. You can see down to the bay, and you get the sunset over there. The sun comes in all day. So the plant's
windows.
happy.
Did you have to replace Did you have to replace any windows?
No, these came with what we came into.
I think what's cool about it is we talk about the bands recording live.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see everyone. It's so cool.
You see, you hear the drum. Basically, that's where your drum kit is, and the drum kit is played right there. And you put your bassist over there, and your guitar players, and your singer, and then it all kind of works itself out.
And how's the brick?
So the brick's great because it does something to sound that makes it not crappy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the magic is, but it does some great stuff.
Yeah.
And there's lined up wood all around. The floors are soft enough that, we don't have any weird quick reflections.
That's true.
And the ceiling has been completely removed right through to the attic. So you get no reflection, nothing to come back to the drum kit.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is the sound doesn't come back. Then you can put a mic further away and capture something later that'll make that depth.
Yeah.
And
what are these mics here that are hanging?
Those
I
are
don't
my
even
room
recognize.
mics.
What kind of mics are they?
They are T4s.
Okay.
It's a tube mic.
Oh, okay.
And
who makes them?
They've been modified. I don't even know. I picked them at Long McQuaid. It's a purple brand. I can't remember. They're not even that expensive.
I've never even seen them before.
But
they're in a great position.
I got a great deal on them, and I modded them up really nice. They're hot rodded, and they sound beautiful.
Nice.
So I just locked them into where they sound the best.
Yeah.
Done.
That's cool.
And then I don't have to set them up ever again.
Yeah, the guys
You're
at
trying all the time.
Studio Tape with Adam and Jordan.
Yeah.
They have the same thing. They had these mics set up for their drums, and then decided just to hang them.
And that's
it.
it.
Was a good spot. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Adam, and so drums. Do you do the drums here?
Yeah, drums here.
If you're doing drums not live.
What?
If you're doing them not live, with nobody else playing.
Same place.
Same here. And do you have gobos or?
No, nothing.
Blankets? No?
Nothing.
Wow.
No, you never need that in here, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because I've been many different places where you spend 2 hours setting up blankets.
Right. Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to be doing when you're setting up a recording session.
Yeah.
You come in, within 30 minutes, the mics are up and running.
Oh, wow.
You know, and you're recording rather than the 3-hour record setup time.
Yeah.
We'll be ready by, you know, halfway through the day. That takes away the energy.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, it's a good spot. It works. Our mics go up quick. The snake's right back there. Done. Man. You know,
this place is way bigger than I thought it would be. You know, when you think upstairs of a club, you don't like it's a huge room. I feel like, you know, if you're tracking for a whole day or a whole weekend in here, like because of the windows, it just feels so good.
Yeah, thank you.
I love it.
It's
you did a great job with it.
Thank you very much. It took a while to get up and running, but we're we're lucky.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, we've got other things going on over there, like a Nintendo room to get away to.
Yeah.
You know, which is great. And then we've got, you know, like vocal rooms.
Yeah, I saw some of the
all
rooms.
that stuff, and this thing we call the Sultan's Lounge. Where, you know, your singer or your writer can sit up there,
criticize the band.
Yeah, chill and just throw things at the band, you know, when they suck.
That's really cool.
No, like
and that's above the stairwell?
That's above the stairwell, and it's been reinforced so that you can chill up there and do some writing while the band's playing your song or something, let's say.
That's really
it's just
nice.
a little bit, you know, just something else.
Well, I think atmosphere is everything. You know, I mean, a lot of bands are writing in the process of recording, and they're coming up with hooks and different stuff, and I just think I've been to some studios, and you know, nothing I think we filmed, but that just, it feels too sterile. It feels too...
Like a dentist's office?
Yeah, like a dentist's office, yeah. Or a funeral home.
Sure, right? You know, and that's the thing. Like I learned early on through some of the good people that I got to be around that vibe is super important, like extremely important. And then, you know, your mic selection and your this and your that, whatever, as long as you do a good job and you can capture a sound correctly and you've got a performance, that's your record. Right. You know, the performance and having a vibe that you can hear top rate.
And that's what we as music fans listen for, and that's what we remember about the records that we love.
Yeah,
it's, you know, it's weird. We were talking earlier about, you know, some of the going after that perfect sound or that perfect recording, but it's like, why do we think that way as engineers whenever, as music fans, we put on a record and it's instantly we love it or we hate it, regardless of the sonics.
Exactly.
It's
you know,
crazy.
nobody's going to listen to a record and go, oh, they should have used a whatever mic. What?
Yeah, exactly.
No. It's like, that sounds awesome because somebody did there's magic coming at you.
Yeah, totally.
You get goosebumps not from a microphone, but from a performance.
From melody.
You know,
that's true.
That's the key to it all.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if we're doing recordings with bands, we have them pre-pro for a while.
Yeah.
You know, multiple pre-production sessions so they can show to us every week or whatever it is that they're better than they were the week before. Because if they're not getting better, then I'm not doing my job.
Right.
You know, because I got to make the bands leave feeling like they've accomplished something.
Yeah.
You know, and then make sure that their record's very good. And they got to get better to make sure it's always better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, Mark. I really appreciate it. You got a great place here. Thanks for having us by.
Thank you for coming by. This was wonderful.
I just love it. I love getting to see so many different vibes because, you know, it represents a person too and what their tastes are. And some people have rooms where perfect hardwood floor, perfect walls, and it's cool. That's their vibe, you know. And, but I love these type of things, these character. I'm glad you didn't re-drywall and paint it white. And
yeah, it'd be great if we could, but like it wouldn't be the same.
No,
wouldn't be the same.
It's totally cool.
I didn't even do floors because it's going to get just destroyed with drum kits, amps, and shoes. So like, you know, break this all you want. I'll just replace it. Right.
I think it was off camera, but do you remember Darren at Jukasa? They have a gorgeous floor out there, and they had a section of it was destroyed by high heels. Like a female singer who was singing in one take. She was like, just stop it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you again.
This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.